this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Why? There we go. I think we're here. Good morning, everybody. It's your turn.
Yeah. Terry likes to step on those lines there.
Yeah.
No, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Get It Right Texoma. I'm Trey Sorrella.
I'm Terry McAdams, and even though he's not with us in the chair over here anymore, our buddy Mike actually was here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of filling in his spot.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, still part of the show.
Right here.
And of course,
Picture right
always will be.
Yeah, we're here every Friday morning, and we like to get together to talk. We're here in Wichita Falls at MacTech Solutions Studios. We like to talk through the week, talk about news stories. We have usually have great guests on. We'll have a local restaurant. We talk about local, national, international, state, intergalactic, and whatever else comes up.
Whatever comes up. That's right. I guess we might have a few topics that we don't want to talk about. But anyway, we're not trying to be perfect or polished or anything like that. We're just trying to bring you something kind of real and a little news, a little opinion, maybe a laugh, and laugh at ourselves a lot. but hopefully something worth thinking about. So, by the way, Get It Right Texoma is brought to you by MacTech Solutions. We're your source for all things Apple. We fix it, we sell it, and we're local. So, and you know what? We Mac it right. All right.
I tell you, I still think that if my name was McAdams, I would have theme music of Return to the Mac when I walked into the room and stuff like that. But it's also brought by Eddie Hill's Fun Cycles. By the way, Return to the Mac, look it up, folks. It's a great R&B song from probably the early 90s.
Okay.
And it's also brought to you by Eddie Hill's Fun Cycles, 401 North Scott, downtown Wichita Falls since 1966. All things power sports here in Texoma.
There you go. And by the way, just as you know right now, because you're watching this, but we go live every.
Hopefully you're watching it.
That's right. Hopefully you are. And if you're catching it later after the recording, in our archive or whatever we might call it on both Facebook and YouTube, the fact is we go live most every Friday morning at 7:30. That we're practicing to make sure we're here, ready to go. But there are times when we can't make it on Friday, so we're going to record it ahead of time. But it will play as if it were live.
Right.
At
so
7:30.
So it's consistent. By the way, jump on there occasionally and look around. We have some shorts. We'll go in and do digital
on
shorts
YouTube.
And drop those. Well, no, Facebook and YouTube.
Oh, you've been posting.
Yes,
okay.
They post both places.
All right.
And basically it's archive shows, but it just drops it down to like a little short topic in a minute or less or something like
snippet, little sound bites.
Yeah, there's by the way, there's one on there that recently did the other day. It was pretty touching, and it was Tim Short's kind of homage to Mike when he was our first guest back after Mike was gone, and that's it's pretty touching.
Yeah, well, he was I guess officially our first guest, and then he was our first guest.
That's correct.
Interesting. So anyway, but jump in on the comments. We want to hear from you because I've got a way to do this interactively. In fact, I got to get that up and I'll post out there as well. So so there you go.
Well, we did talk about guests earlier. Ron Kitchens, CEO and president of the Wichita Falls Chamber of Commerce, is going to be here, and he'll talk to us about all things that are going on to do with the chamber and the business of Wichita Falls.
Yeah, and probably hear some big numbers.
Absolutely. Record investments.
There you go.
Record investments.
So stick around. This is Get It Right Texoma, and let's get into it.
Absolutely.
So
well, we normally start with our local restaurant focus, and we like to do this. We like to go out and highlight local restaurants. So if you have any suggestions, if you say, hey, this place or that place, and we haven't gone through it, I think we've hit everybody at least once.
Yeah.
But I'm open to suggestions. If there's a local restaurant that you're interested in or that you think is great, tell us, and we don't mind focusing.
Yeah.
Look, we're not making a penny on this.
No,
we're not charging the restaurant.
Nope.
No, this is 100% just a service because we want people to buy local and eat local and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, look, when you're out traveling, and you got to hit the Mickey D's or the Burger King or the whatever else like that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when you're in your hometown and you've got time to go through and you
Go-
know where everything is,
go check out the different places, and and nobody's gonna knock anybody for eating at the national chains. They're there and they have a purpose.
Absolutely.
But if you can find a good local, because those people, in fact, just something noted, and I please forgive me, I don't remember the gentleman's name. One of the owners of Hibiscus passed away last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel really bad. I just thought about it. I didn't want to forget about it, but they did. So go visit. They're like a family,
Oh yeah, the Hibiscus Cafe. Yeah, and we've talked
Stella
about them a couple times.
and Mary and the whole crew over there. So, but anyway, have them in your thoughts.
But speaking of family, we're talking about Familia Gutierrez Restaurant.
That's right.
Which is the Gutierrez Family Restaurant.
Yes.
And it is on Martin Luther King Boulevard or East Side Drive, depends on how long you've lived here and what you want to call it. Excuse me. It's a brightly colored building.
Yeah.
No shocking for a Mexican restaurant. I mean, that's very common in Mexican culture, is having a brightly colored building right there. It's really close to Lincoln, to the corner of Martin Luther King and Lincoln.
Right.
And great food. It's my go-to. It's right around the corner from my store.
Yep.
And if I want a breakfast burrito or a breakfast taco, I almost can't eat a breakfast burrito.
Oh.
Not one setting. I have to warm it up.
Okay.
But the breakfast tacos are unbelievable. But all their food, their street tacos are great. That's one of my favorite. They have asada gusada. They have shredded beef. They have they have ground beef. They have chicken and pollo. They have all that sort of stuff. But they have all the kind of things that you would think in a Mexican restaurant, family style. They've got like a huge menu with lots of different choices in there.
Well, let's go see. I've got them up there on the side there.
If you're looking over here.
Somewhere over here, they've got, oh, there we go. They've got some food out there. I knew they had some food on there somewhere. But, just like any other Facebook page, they're going to, all kinds of stuff you get on.
Yeah, but
each of our things.
It's really, they're really nice people. They've been there a long time. Great family. Once again, they're a family restaurant. Great people, great food. It's reasonable priced. I mean, I think their prices are fair.
Right.
So go check them out. Gutierrez Restaurant on Martin Luther King Boulevard or East Side Drive, however you want to call it.
All right, there we go. So, all right, what's next coming up here? Well, on our list of stuff that's happening here, we got the 8th annual Archer City, I guess AC, Volunteer Fire Department Barbecue Benefit. It'll be held on Sunday, this Sunday, coming up, July 27th. And then we got the.
Go check them out. All these local volunteer fire departments, they need help. They need donations. That's what they survive off of. Yes, they do get some grants and sometimes get some money from the county, but a lot of it's donations. Right. But it's going to be in the Archer City ISD cafeteria from 11 to 2. Plates are going to be by donation, so they're not going to hit you up and tell you have to pay $25 for a plate. Right. But don't pay $3. Don't be an asshole. Yeah. Give them something fair. Be fair about what you're getting. It's going to be brisket, potato salad, baked beans, and a dessert. And you can get them. You can eat there, or you get those to-go boxes.
Yeah, there you go. And just something little tidbit there is that most fire departments in the United States are volunteer fire departments.
The majority are volunteer fire departments. That's correct.
So something to keep in mind. I mean, we have the Jolly. I mean, how many local volunteer fire departments are there? I mean, you got the Jolly.
Oh, there's a
Archer
bunch
City,
of them. There's a huge.
Just Friar, whatever, the north of the base.
Freeburg Cooper.
There you go.
But if you just take Wichita County, Archer County, and Clay County, I'm just throwing a number out there, but I'm guessing I bet there's 30 volunteer fire departments in those 3 counties.
Jeez. Okay.
I'm just throwing out there.
So some number more than, like, Wichita Falls is obviously a professional.
Wichita Falls
they're
is
all professional, but they're paid.
Well, professional is in their paid, right. But like, for instance, Burt Burnett is both. Right. Burt Burnett has some hybrid? Professional. Right. It's a hybrid. Okay. They have some professional and some that are volunteer. So
all right. Well, there we go. So
go check them out. Get you some great barbecue and benefit the Archer City Volunteer Fire Department in Archer City on Sunday. From 11 to 2.
11 to 2. All right. So then the next thing we got is tomorrow we have the Wichita Falls Farmers Market on Austin. Watermelon Festival is 8 to
That's right. This is their biggest event. And what I always say on Austin, because there's 2 farmers markets downtown, which is crazy. Wichita Falls, we had three super Walmarts and 2 farmers markets.
Yeah.
But this is the farmers market that is the Downtown Farmers Market Association. It was a group of people who I think a lot of them were at the original farmers market that's on Ohio Street, and they broke off and gone to Austin. They've got a really nice facility there. Scott from the winery is I think he's the president. Yeah. But there's a lot of faces and familiar people you know.
Just support them both. I mean,
Absolutely, yeah. They're both great farmers markets. They've got vendors at both of them, so go check them out. But this is the Watermelon Festival, and they said it's their #1 event where they have more vendors there and more.
Are they doing the watermelon seed spitting
I don't think
contest?
they're doing the seed spitting contest. I think they do the rind throwing. I don't know what they're doing. But I specifically heard they're not doing the seed spitting.
Which, really? Okay.
Yeah, I always thought the seed spitting was interesting. Of course, in Holland, Texas, where my family's from, in Central Texas, they have the Corn Festival because there's a lot of corn that's grown down there.
Okay.
And when I was growing up, they had the cow patty chucking contest. Yes, they were dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good and dry.
But you'd see how far you could
it'd be kind of hard to throw a wet one, you know, unless you wrap it up in a bag or something.
Okay, Terry, getting just
hey, sorry.
Going there.
All right, so the next thing is that city councilors have approved a zoning change for over 9 acres of land for commercial use off of Gregg Road. So
right now, Gregg Road is off of Southwest, off of Southwest Parkway, kind of behind the stadium.
Oh, okay.
So you have Memorial Stadium, and Gregg Road is right past the Memorial Stadium in there. And, looks like they're wanting to guess it's been zoned for residential, and now they're wanting to zone part of it for commercial. And the developer who was pushing this through said that over 9 acre land could have about 8 different pad sites, so 8 different business pad sites, and also develops homes along a 30-acre lot behind the commercial area. And they said they could build around 160 homes.
That's Doug McCulloch. Is that how you say that?
I guess, yeah.
Okay. Or McCulloch. Maybe it's silent. But anyway, so that's cool. Well, there's
probably
something
not
else.
McCulloch.
On a similar note, I just saw a news story yesterday that the city with the 4B board is working with, I guess, the mall owners.
Oh, okay.
They're going to make some sort of sports complex there at the mall. So something just
like an indoor sports complex, or
it doesn't say. It just says a sports complex. It's all that there's I don't know if it's a decree, but it's an official letter from the 4B board that was sent to the the owners, and so we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we'll try and get a little bit more information.
But just something that I
and
read
actually
last
Ron
night.
Kitchens may have a little bit of information.
I bet he does.
We can ax him when he gets here.
There we go. All right. So now there's another little story that this is national, and it happened I guess in 2017. So that's been a while. So this interesting thing, the FBI basically raided the wrong house. So I came across this, and this is wild though, because man, I can't imagine somebody just breaking it into my house just unannounced, like that, with a bunch of guns and loud noises and everything else. That'd be a little startling, to say the least. But back in 2017, the FBI was looking for a suspected gang member in Atlanta, but instead of hitting the right address, they showed up at the wrong house, and I don't mean they knocked politely. They didn't say, "Oh, police, we're here." No, they came in, and I didn't know what this was, but a battering ram. I guess that's the big thing that.
Yeah, if you've ever used a post hole driver, when you're building fence, it looks like a basic. It's a big metal thing with handles on it. You can smash a door open pretty easy.
Well, use that, flashbang grenades, the guns drawn, and they stormed into this innocent family's home. And mom, dad, little kids inside. The whole family was terrified. And then after a minute, the FBI is like, "Oh, whoops, wrong house. Sorry." And then they left, and that was it. It's like, whoa, hold on. Apparently, the GPS, they didn't. They followed GPS directions.
And didn't verify.
Yeah, and then didn't go to Google. You'd think that they might have surveilled it a little bit ahead of time and then verified everything, but I don't know. But that's sort of the root of this.
Well, theoretically, though, and I don't know this will probably come out in court because, like you said, this has gone to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
And the Supreme Court says the family does have a right to sue.
Yep.
Which I agree with, by the way. Look, I'm all in favor of law enforcement, but when you screw up, especially a big screw up like this, you need to be held accountable. Yeah. But here's what I'm wondering about from a criminal standpoint. Whoever executed, theoretically, I'm assuming they had a search warrant.
Right.
Because usually this is America still. You're not supposed to be able to kick people's doors down without search warrants.
But you didn't have a search warrant for that house.
But if you did not have, if you had a search warrant and your intelligence was bad, that's one thing. Breonna Taylor is, I think, a perfect example of that. They famously, police broke into Breonna Taylor's house, or raided her house in the middle of the night, and there was gunfire, and her boyfriend at the time ended up getting killed. Of course, the police were returning gunfire.
Right.
I don't think that was the wrong address. That was bad intelligence.
Yeah.
And I have a little bit more leeway on that. But if you have the wrong address, ostensibly, I would think that search warrant specifically says you must raid this house at this address.
Yeah.
So if you raid a house and it's not that address,
right,
are you criminally liable because it was breaking and entering?
That's negligence in a way,
right? But from a criminal,
you negligently applied force upon an undeserving family.
Well, right, and once again, should you be held criminally negligent because you did not follow the search warrant?
Right.
So literally what you did is you did breaking and entering.
Well, and if it somehow is not, then that's where legislators need to get together and make it that. But see, now here a little bit more to it. Basically, the family tried to sue. They got shut down for years. Lower courts said basically, sorry, you can't sue the government for this. But recently, that's when the Supreme Court stepped in and unanimously said, hey, yes, you can. They ruled that if a private person would be liable under state law, then the government doesn't get an automatic free pass. So now, years later, the family gets a shot at justice. So I just want to throw this out. So here's a question: how should stuff like this be handled? We want our law enforcement to act quickly when the situation calls for it, but when they get it wrong, which in this case they did, shouldn't somebody be held accountable? And that's what we're asking. Should you be able to sue the FBI?
Or law? We take FBI out of it. It just happened to be FBI,
right?
CIA or local law enforcement, sheriff's department, whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. So just throw your comments down in there if you want to leave some comments again now, live or later. But yeah. So what else on that?
Well, so here's the thing. Once again, I go back to you have to give law enforcement officers do a tough job overall.
Yeah.
So you have to give them some leeway.
Yeah.
To that mistakes can be made based on what they're doing. The difference that I see between this and like something that happens in the street, they're not reacting on this.
Right.
They're the proactive people.
Oh,
on
yeah.
This. So therefore, the standard of due diligence must be a lot higher. Mm-hmm. If a police officer breaks in or goes into a house because there's been a call there.
Yeah.
You have to give them a little bit more leeway on whether the house was, because they didn't get a search warrant. They didn't go to the house. They got a house because there was an emergency 911 call.
This was planned. This was major planning going on.
And I do think that somebody ought to go to jail for this. I mean, if I would be held liable if I kicked in Miranda's door over there. And I don't know why I said Amanda.
Well,
Miranda.
She'd probably shoot you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. But if I kicked in her door in the middle of the night, then I would probably go to jail.
Yeah.
And so why? Because you have a badge, if you made a mistake, it's a big one.
Yeah.
The other side of it is, had somebody from that house shot a law enforcement officer, would they be charged with murder? Well, the fact is, you were in their house, and you didn't have a right to be in their house.
Yeah.
So at some point, you should be held liable. And I don't know what the answer is on that. And what police need to understand is, I identified myself. So what? Yeah. I could tell you I'm a cop. But you can buy, it's not 1953 where there was you had to go get a badge officially dedicated and you could only get a uniform from a police department. all these police wear tactical gear and stuff. Like, you can buy that shit at any surplus store.
That's right.
Or on Amazon.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you could get a badge. You can get so many things that are fake. You can identify yourself. And we have seen where people have been victims of crime from somebody perpetrating themselves to be a police officer. So it's a very fine line. Like I said, we've got to give the police officers, the law enforcement people, a lot of grace and a limited amount of leeway. Yeah. But in a case like this, where it is negligence, I think somebody should not only be held accountable from the city should be held accountable, or the country, but also maybe there should be somebody held accountable legally.
Oh yeah,
there.
Right. Criminally charged with something.
Exactly.
So, what I also don't like, and I guess I've never been had a search warrant on my property, but I guess I understand they can go in and they just tear through for the most part and open things up, and they don't put it back, and they could sometimes may even cause damage, and that's apparently not something you can get any sort of reimbursement.
And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. I think
especially if they find nothing.
I think, but even if they do, we could say it both ways. Especially if they find nothing, I agree. I do think that if police execute a search warrant, they should have to put everything back the way they found it. Okay. Yeah. But even if they didn't, even if they found something, you're still not guilty until you're proven guilty in a court of law. So it's not right to say, well, those people are dirtbags or they were guilty. No, the law enforcement doesn't get the right to decide that, and there's a reason behind that. Because if you had that, then you'd have an authoritarian state. Right. Then we'd be China or Russia, where somebody could where a law enforcement officer could take the law into their own hands and just be judge, jury, and executioner. That's not what they're for. There are specific roles in government.
Yeah, but there's also another issue that you run into is that there's certain cases where, without even being convicted, that they can seize your property. They can take your car. If it's a drug-related offense, they can take your car if they think that car was, or this cash, or this whatever was used in.
They can take it and hold it in evidence.
Well, but apparently they've been holding this stuff, and this has been an years-long issue, is that people were having trouble getting their property back, even though there were never any charges filed. And that is real. That is real.
Well, that's something that needs to be addressed. Yeah, and once again, that's legislators.
Yeah,
that's our legislators.
I think there's some of that's being I read an article the other day along those lines. But anyway, so there's hopefully
by the way,
work that out.
What people need to understand is, just because if a police officer or a group of police officers does something wrong and you're against them, doesn't mean you're against all law enforcement. No. That's the problem. The other side of that is, and I've said this a million times, Terry, and you've heard me say this, the worst thing that cops can do is defend bad cops. Yeah. If somebody screws up and they're a police officer, just because they simply do the same job you do, it's the same as military does a lot of this thing.
I'm not giving military a pass just because they're military.
Simply because somebody wears the same uniform and does the same job, and we can go back to the whole brotherhood and all that stuff. That's true. But in the end, it is a job. You're not doing this for volunteer. You're getting paid to do this.
Yep.
Okay? And the only thing that you have in common with this person or this person is you wear the same uniform or you work for the same place. Mm-hmm. So do not give people passes simply because they do the same job you have or work for the same place. Yep. Judge them by there's this famous guy named Martin Luther King Jr. said, let's judge people by the content of their character. See? Blah. It's the same thing. I know that was more race side, but it bleeds over into this.
It applies in all cases.
Judge people by the content of their character and their actions, not because of what uniform they wear, what sexual organs they have, who they sleep with, what color they are, what language they speak. Right. Don't judge people based on that. Judge it by the content of their character and what they do.
Yep. Okay. Well, there you go.
By the way, rough week for 80s icons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne died since we've been last time we were here. Ozzy Osbourne died, and then Hulk Hogan died yesterday.
Right, and something Jamal.
Oh yeah, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Right. Yes, he died as well.
He
drowned.
Yeah, he drowned, and then So man.
So three 80s. What I would say are icons. I mean, Malcolm Jamal Warner was on the Cosby Show, which was the hottest show on. Hulk Hogan Hulk Hogan may have been at one time the most recognizable person on the planet. Because people all over the world knew who Hulk Hogan was, whether they spoke English or anything like that. Muhammad Ali has kind of been at that level at some time. Mike Tyson has probably been at that level, but Hulk Hogan, I think, was at that same level. And then, of course, Ozzy Osbourne, well-known. And look, whether you like his music or not, you have to admit the guy had a massive, which I do like some of his music, by the way, but the guy had a massive career that spanned decades and decades and then spun off the Osbournes. By the way, the Osbournes were one of the first reality TV shows.
Oh, they've been up.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I mean, now you had the competition,
right?
Like your Survivors and your Amazing Races that were out before that. But where we put cameras in somebody's house, the Real World actually was the first. Yeah. The first, I believe it was the first reality TV on MTV, the Real World. Yeah. But the Osbournes, I think, was the first one that spawned this where they go into a celebrity's home and film them. And I think the Osbournes were kind of the beginning of that. That gave rise to the Caitlyn Jenner and that whole thing. All of those.
I never watched that really.
Oh, and Hulk Hogan used to have a reality show, I believe. I never watched it, but the Osbournes was funny. It was. I did watch.
I think I've seen it.
I watched the first season of that. Of course, after that, it got stupid. But the first seison, it was
Ozzy's like,
Sharon, you can only understand.
So we'll move on next little topic. 14. This is in your world. House Bill 1481 from Texas House Bill.
Right, it's a new statewide law that forbids students from using personal communication devices during the school day, and it does have all the local school districts scrambling because obviously they're on summer vacation right now, and they have to have this policy in place. Yeah, look, I'm in favor of this.
Okay,
I've been in favor of this. I said this when I was on the school board. From the dais of the school board, that there should be a ban on students using personal communication devices, cell phones, in school. And there's a lot of ways to go about it, and all these schools are going to have to figure out their rules, their regulations, how they're going to police this. Yeah. But there's a lot of ways to do it. There's economical ways to do it. So the fact is, the argument of what if I need to get a hold of my kid in an emergency, it's the same way you got a hold of your kid in an emergency in 1920, 1930, 1940, 1950, all the way up till about 2018 and a half or 15 and a half. You call the damn office and they go get your kid.
Yeah. Well, and the other something along those lines is outside of school, but we've had several cases where customers come in and their child's phone needs to be fixed. And we have to take it from them in order to get it repaired. We might have it for a few days. And the parents sometimes get a little freaked out that their child cannot travel from Burke Burnett to Wichita Falls without a cell phone. I don't know. I know maybe there are cases or individual cases where I think given the technology moving forward and all that having a cell phone all the time is very important for health reasons or something like that. I can see that a little bit.
But people had health problems in 1987.
No, but let me ask you, if it is a lifeline, and this is a whole nother discussion, but I just thought I would bring it up that
we need
technology.
To cut it short.
Our guest is here, but having having technologies. To some extent, we become more dependent on it. It's like our businesses. Before telephones, there were businesses before telephone, so you just showed up, right?
You walked in, but also the shopping experience was different back then too.
Absolutely.
But here's the point on this: they're not saying you can't take it to school with you. Right. You can't use it during school. Right. So that way, little Johnny and little Susie, you could, if you have to feel like you're in touch with your children at all times, and you have that lifeline. You could talk to them, but the second they walk in that damn door, that thing goes shut off, it gets put in a locker or whatever it happens, and then if you got to get a hold of little Johnny or Susie during the day, then call the office. They'll bring them down. They can call you back. Or if little Johnny and Susie have to get a hold of you, they'll do the same thing. It happened for decades, as long as we've had schools.
Oh, I know.
I mean, other than the Ingalls, they couldn't call. They couldn't call. They drove over there on their wagon and told people.
Okay. Well,
Anyhow.
all right. Well, our guest is here, and come on in,
Ron.
We just do this live now.
Yeah, we're live. So
yeah, so we just come on and have a seat, and then I've got this fancy software
look here.
and then I will.
Now that you're here,
yeah, we'll click on a little button.
Look
at that. Your
You're
name
official.
is now.
Yeah, there I am. It's like Walter Cronkite or something.
Yeah. So, but of course, that's where the camera is, just to remind you. But right in the middle, right where that little, I don't even see the target, right where it says House Bill 1481. So that's where the camera is.
So you got to stare right at that.
There
Yeah.
But anyway.
So Ron Kitchen, CEO and president of the Wichita Falls Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
And been a guest with us before, and we appreciate you being back.
Yes.
So tell us what is going on in Wichita Falls.
Well, apparently y'all haven't seen the newspaper today or what's
Well,
online.
a newspaper?
Sorry.
Did you say
we'll go with Channel 3.
Yeah.
You haven't
Okay.
seen Texoma's homepage.
Okay.
And so it was legal notices posted that we're working towards the acquisition of the mall.
Okay. Well, that's what. See, I heard
You
that.
did bring it
Actually,
up.
it was
Yeah,
last
yeah.
night I read this.
Yeah.
And
You're staying up way too late
Right.
reading stuff online. And
So the chamber is
we're leading the effort, but it's the Economic Development Corporation. We do the work for the Economic Development Corporation. We're the contracted entity for that. So ultimately, the Economic Development Corporation will be the interim owner. Clearly, this strategy isn't that the Economic Development Corporation be the developer.
Right.
We're in negotiations with developers right now.
Okay.
And so but you got to get it under control before you can negotiate.
Okay. So what's going to happen? It's a sports complex, right?
Well,
Is that what,
it's a complete redevelopment of it. So you have 60 acres.
Okay.
So 60-acre retail development for a community this size would never happen in today's world. It's just too much land.
Right.
It's not how you do things anymore. Malls are obsolete for a bunch of reasons, but the biggest reason is that big hallway down the center. Mm-hmm. Every tenant has to pay their percentage of the rent for that big hallway. So the price escalates. If you have an outside door and no big hallway, your rent goes down.
Yeah.
So those are a lot of the reasons why we're doing it. Plus, as consumers, we don't want to be in dark places anymore. We want to pull right up there. Maybe we'll go down one or two places. When I go to Academy, I might go to Academy, but I don't walk to any of the other places. I drive over and park in front of their place, and I have done it as many as 3 times in that shopping center. I'm lazy, but that's today's consumer. So this would be a mixed-use development with a football stadium at one end of it, the end towards the university. That, and good Lord willing, we can raise those dollars from the private contributors and build that stadium that would serve both the university, hopefully someday high schools, but high school playoffs, concerts, university soccer.
Wichita Falls ISD may not be real super happy about a new stadium going in because they make money off renting Memorial Stadium out.
Yeah, but it's a 52-year-old stadium that's not handicapped accessible.
Oh,
in today's world, it's unacceptable. You can't recruit college athletes if you're playing in a stadium that was built for high schools 50 years ago. I don't care how nice the scoreboard is. If the locker rooms look like, 50 years old.
And smell it.
They look very similar to the time when I was playing there in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the fact that it's not handicapped accessible is unacceptable in this.
Well, now it's handicapped accessible to some degree. The whole stadium's not.
The whole stadium.
And the score and the press box damn sure.
Yeah. So, it doesn't meet today's standards. Right. And that entire complex, it's the only facility that the ISD is using now because they've built facilities at the new high schools.
Right.
So when we look at that, when we look at adding men's and women's track back at the university, for the university to go up, it's the Saban effect is real. That stadiums sports recruit students.
By the way, Nick Saban, famous coach.
Yeah.
Just in people that aren't in the weeds on college football.
But we would be doing this whether there was a stadium involved or not.
Right.
We've got 60 acres that we know if you look at nationally at malls like ours get boarded up and graffiti covered, homeless move into them, they burn a hole in the roof. So let me ask you, you're the father of a 17-year-old daughter, and you show up on a Saturday to take your daughter for a tour of the university, and the first thing you see next to the university's property is directly across the street, is a boarded up graffiti-covered, homeless-invaded mall. Yeah. You're going to send your 17-year-old daughter here?
You're going
to send her to Abilene? You're going to send her to Stephenville?
Yep.
Those are where we compete with those three places. Fact of the matter is we lose, and how we can't afford to lose. On top of that, we lose $500 million a year. $500 million a year in sales, in retail sales in this community because we don't have proper retailers in the community. We have lost those. So those dollars are leaving. About $80 million of that is Amazon. Okay, we'll set that aside. We'll call it $400 million. If we can capture that, what's that, $20 million a year in sales tax?
Right.
If we capture half of it, it's $10 million a year in sales tax. But the one thing we want to focus on as well is ultimately this is a private developer going to come in. We are going to find the appropriate partner where we can control it, and we're not a victim of, these guys who bought it a year or so ago don't care. 4 companies have moved out. 4 stores have moved out in the last month. We know 3 or 4 more are coming.
Right. Don't some, real quick, let me ask you a question. Don't some of these investment firms and stuff that buy some of these properties buy them on purpose to lose money because it's a way to offset
taxes.
Offset taxes in different places. Yeah.
And tax risks.
Yeah.
So they don't care about the operating issues. They care about holding that money in a safe and secure place. So we've been working a year on this process, on this project, and now we're at the point that the public needs to be informed because the economic development corporations will be involved. And but we still got a long way to go. We're still in the middle of negotiations. We're still doing due diligence on it. We spent all day yesterday in Dallas with our potential partner on it, who is a nationally known, one of the top retail developers in the country. But for them to get involved in this, it has to be local control because they just don't have time to futz around with the process where we've spent a year. They're not going to do that.
Right. They're going to come in and develop.
They're going to come in and develop it.
Yeah.
They're going to come in and mixed use, retail, restaurants, parks. When you look at, think of the best kind of retail development, South Lake, and the way that feels.
Feels like a village.
That's the way this will feel.
Yeah, when you go in, you get off the highway, you go there. It feels like a European village in a lot of ways.
So
that's exactly what we're going to have
mixed. Sorry about that. Have mixed stuff, and then sometimes even have apartments above there and stuff like that.
So
absolutely.
what is this property? Where does it? What is the confines of that? From where to where to where?
60 acres. That is the mall.
That is just that's 68. Wow, I can't believe that's 60 acres.
It's a footprint.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is
up to the bank, all the way back to Maplewood.
Yeah, so the bank and the breakfast place on the corner are not part of the property, but then it wraps around. I mean, they essentially everything asphalted.
Right.
You can go look at.
Right. Okay.
And the mall had a tenuous life when it beginning. And you've probably heard this.
No, I know all the history.
This was before my time, but I've heard the history over time. But even when I was a kid, I don't know when the mall officially opened, but it sat dormant or vacant for years because I knew people that would go ride dirt bikes and stuff up and down the halls of the mall before it was open when they first built it.
Yeah, 8 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
They went bankrupt.
Yes.
That Sykes went bankrupt doing that.
So, and you're right, boy. The malls, it's almost become almost like an urban thing about malls closing down. I mean, there's like YouTube channels dedicated to it. And there's also a YouTube channel that I ran across recently called Modern Ruins that's really good. So if you get a chance, they're not paying me anything. I just want to throw it out there. But you don't want these malls to turn into what they call a modern ruin.
Yep.
So
how much of the area will be the stadium? I mean,
a stadium, actually, people think of stadiums take a lot. A footprint of a stadium that'll do 6,000-7,000 people takes about 7 acres. And then you've got
go up.
Yeah, you've got parking that's needed for that.
Right, but that's shared use.
Shared use. So you got massive amounts of parking already. But you also have parking a block away at the university, and you have parking directly across the street at the community college, both of which are not in session when the stadium's being used.
Okay.
So, you don't build massive parking if you don't need it. We can all shuttle, we can walk across the street, we can going to flex a lot of that.
Right.
So maybe, it takes 10 or 15 acres for the stadium complex.
And you want to coordinate, though, with other property owners.
Everything has to be built together.
Right.
It has to be one common
flow
design.
together. It'll be thoughtfully processed. It
Absolutely.
won't be. We're not going to be like Gus is going to go do this over here and Fred's going to do that over
Fort
here.
Worth until recently, in the last year or two, Fort Worth, you had free during the Friday, Saturday, and I think part of Sunday. It was all free parking, but there's been some changes there. Because it was a coordinated effort between the property owners and the city, and
they're getting a lot bougier now. They don't have to give it away.
You talking about Sundance Square or what?
Yeah, Sundance. Yeah, Sundance Square.
You said Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Fort Worth's
Well,
a good
I'm sorry. Yeah, but
Yeah.
downtown. But anyway, that's just cool. So
Well, and there's a great example. Sundance Square, we all think of as downtown Fort Worth. That's not downtown Fort Worth. Downtown Fort Worth's about a mile and a half away.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
So,
No.
but we create new urban cores because downtown center cities are no longer a function of the past. They're a function of where housing is, where retail sales are, where roads meet correctly. If you look at the mall, that's the center city.
oh, sure, absolutely.
Of this community, and redeveloping it is critical.
Right.
We can't. It will. If it gets boarded up, it will collapse the property values of everything.
Oh yeah, I mean, because everything, even here where we're in Finishing Touch Plaza, and this benefits this. I'm a little bit off the beaten path, but it's a good value being where I'm at because I've been in the high rent district, they call it, when I was in Parker Square, and it was nice in there, but I didn't. My particular business. Didn't benefit from the walk-by traffic.
He moved to Baltic Avenue. He was on Marvin Gardens.
So, but anyway, so what else is going on?
Monopoly reference, everybody.
What's up? What's the latest with the data centers and that kind of stuff?
We continue to work with data centers. We had a very large one in town yesterday, looking at a 1,200-acre site. We've got 4 or 5 that have real estate under contract, that have engineering firms working on them, that are submitting all their paperwork with the state, that have spent, we're into millions of dollars now have been spent. Fall we'll break ground on one in the fall that we had 2 in town over the weekend for Ranch Rodeo. They're the 2 that are going to be the first 2 to announce. One will announce in the fall. And that'll be, it's a small one. It's only $500 million of investment.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
And, but then the next one we'll announce slightly later, September, October. And, it's a 350-acre development, massive. Will be one of the largest in the state and one of the largest in the nation.
Yeah. So any names you can throw around?
We can't drop
Not
names
yet.
No
Not yet.
names. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's understandable. Yeah.
Because one doesn't want their competitor to know, although we're talking, there's the big 6 in that world right now, and we're talking to all of the big 6. So
that's cool.
it's who's coming out of the ground first and the hardest, because it isn't about getting labor to run the thing after.
Right.
It's getting skilled talent to
To
build
build
it.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you run into
Yeah.
when you're doing a bunch of commercial projects. Like when they had the 2 schools, they were having to bring skilled labor in from out of town because there literally was not enough skilled labor.
Yeah,
in
we
Wichita
have
Falls.
hundreds, 400 or 500 electricians from here working in Abilene right now on a data center project. Those guys will all come home.
Right.
We think at peak in about 3 years we could have 5,000 to 6,000 construction workers in town working on about a 5-year period.
Right. Which even though we have to bring some of them in, that's actually a good thing because they're in hotels. They're buying while they're here.
We're encouraging.
And we're exposing ourselves to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're
Wait a minute, that didn't sound right.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it that way.
You-
They're
cheap-
getting exposed to
They're in
Wichita
cheap
Falls.
hotels and we're exposing
Yeah,
ourselves.
sorry.
Let's not go there.
No. So,
But we're
they're-
encouraging the city
Yeah.
and the building community to think about how can we build homes for those folks. So instead of their check going to Port Arthur or Iowa City, that we say, hey, it's time to bring your family home and to where you're at. It's time to reestablish. Job's going to be here for 5, 6, 7 years for you. Why would you want to keep commuting? Don't live in a man camp. Let's get you in a home in a neighborhood at a $200,000 house. If we could do 400 houses, and we put 3.2 people in each house, that's our average in the community, that would be more growth than the past 60 years combined.
Yep.
Wow.
More population growth than the past 60 years combined. And that would be
literally
400 houses.
Right. Well, we've talked about that. 1% growth in Wichita Falls be 1,000 people annually. 1,000 people a year. That 1,000 people. We haven't seen. I mean, over any length of time.
I was telling somebody yesterday, Wichita Falls has basically been the same population since 1960.
Yes.
There was a major boom in growth between 1950 and 1960, and then it's been relatively flat. Yeah. There's been times it's been 105, 106, 102, 98,000, but it's been hovering around 100,000 for that. Right.
When Shepherd started getting the people in from Chanute Air Force Base, Lowry Air Force Base, there was an uptick. That's when I got here, and so some of us stayed. So,
but then we lost the medical, and then population dropped.
Yeah.
But so the way we're going to grow the population isn't going to be, hey, let's get a new manufacturing plant and people will move here. The whole country's at 3 or 4% unemployment. So to get somebody to move here for a job is very difficult. If we've got those construction folks in town who are used to doing this, and then we say, here's a strategic advantage. We got brand new schools. Here's all the great things going on. And we've got housing, and your family can move here, and we're going to make this seamless. If we just got 10% of those construction folks to move here, that puts us at 500 families. Yeah. I mean, this is game changing for us.
Right? Absolutely.
Cool. So,
wow.
All right.
So now our other. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, is a total number of projects going on right now. We reached a bill or something.
We have. We're in. I can't. The numbers get so big and they're always flexing.
But we're close to $1 billion, right?
Oh no, we're we're $20 billion.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, the small data center's at 500,000.
I'm talking about what's under contract right now.
Current active.
Yeah, over $20 billion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
So
and we have 12 deals in the pipeline. We ultimately won't get them all. Our consultants tell us that they think we'll get 8. We're saying 5 or 6. But this literally is the equivalent of the geotech people just came in and said there's oil under there. And we got wildcatters scrambling to figure out who's going to drill and hit it first and which site we're going to hit it from. And then the railroad saying, well, we better run a railroad there to haul that oil home. And that's what we're looking at.
So let me ask you about, from your expertise on this, about what time frame. So say we've got $20 billion in commercial construction going on.
It's going to take really, by the time construction, because construction on these things takes 2.5 to 3 years.
Right.
They're very big and very complicated. And getting all the components right now in this supply chain, because there's such a demand, is really difficult just to get all the computers. Mm-hmm. So you figured 3 years. So if you start that cycle, you're really then looking at 10 years before you really see that really see numbers hit about year 5 into the taxable system. But before you really see the scale, it's probably 8 or 10 years.
And when do your local retailers expect to see
Gonna sell a lot of cheeseburgers in the next. Construction will start on one next year. The year and a half from now, you're gonna see massive amounts of construction people in town, and cheeseburgers and blue jeans are being sold. As fast as you can produce them.
Yeah, interesting.
Wow. All right.
Maybe some side-by-sides.
I'm sure hoping so. I'm hoping some of these construction sites, they might need a side-by-side or two to get out there. So of the ones that are under construction, of course, we have the Amazon. We know about that.
Amazon's under construction, cooking along.
What all is under construction that is getting at least halfway through completion?
The PVC pipe plant off of Iowa Park Road.
Right.
If you drive over the bypass there, you'll see a massive construction site. They're doubling the size of that facility, and that's about $140 million of investment. That's the largest single investment in the community's history. Now, the other things were built the glass plant, clearly, if you were going to build it today, is about $400 million.
Right.
But it was built cheaper back then. So those two are under construction and screaming along. The state hospital is under construction.
Right.
You know, we forget about that. It's $500 million construction.
Drove right by
project.
there this morning,
Yeah. And so, you know,
I didn't wake up there, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to go there, but
I drove by there. I did not wake
I
up
was
there.
going to say, did you get out? Does it take a pass?
Yeah.
Is this lady
You
your
got your
escort?
wrist. Oh, okay. Wristband. You took it off. All right.
Yeah. So, we got big projects going on and lots more coming.
All right.
Now, what else going on with the chamber? You guys have, outside of all this economic development, the chamber has special programs.
Leaderfest is
things that
coming
are
up.
happening.
August 1 is Leaderfest, so it's sold out. If you really want a ticket, call me and I'll figure out a way to get you in the door.
Describe what Leaderfest is.
So Leaderfest is the idea that people like us do things like this. So we all need heroes. We all need to see people and hear from people that are doing amazing things. So you go, I'm as smart as she is. My idea is that good. I can do that. To be it, you got to see it. And so it's the idea of bringing people in who can inspire us, who can show us the way, and then who can say, go get them, sick them. And so we've got great speakers coming in. Happens to be, 4 out of 5 are close friends of mine that, we're curating to come in. And, and whether it's Liz Fork and Bohannon, who's, who at 22 years old went to Africa and realized she fell in love with the people there, wanted to do something that helped women to be able to go to continue their education. She started a shoe company where they made them in the U.S., made them in Africa, they sold them in the U.S., and it funded all of their education. That's now a massive female line of clothing. It's hundreds of employees. I don't think Liz is 40 yet. And,
sure, she needs to get after it. Come on, man.
And, Carlos Whitaker, who's, is about being a change agent. We have, the chancellor of the university coming in, who's one of the most gifted, talented speakers I've ever been around. It's going to be an incredible day.
And it's August the 1st.
August 1st.
And where is it located?
It's at the D.L. Liggins, at the basketball arena at the university.
I actually went to the Next Star Sports Awards banquet at D.L. Liggins a couple of weeks ago, and you kind of forget how it's a neat. D.L. Liggins is a really neat venue to have
the architecture is pretty
like
special that you don't get when it's full of people for basketball,
right?
Because it's the smell of the basketball, it's the excitement of that. But when you go in there and look, you think this place is pretty cool.
Yeah, and they push all the bleachers back, and you have the table set up and all. So D.L. Liggins is a great place. Also, you have state of the economy, state of the businesses. What are those about?
So our State of series, or we pick a single topic, we bring in experts on it, and we talk about where are we as a community and where should we be. Too many times people want to go, well, they are working on it. Well, who's they? Well, they's the 250 people in the room who show up for that. So we've got a couple of those coming up where we'll be looking at, what's the vision for the city? Where should we be going as a city? Beyond, we all want no potholes. Every community going to America complains about potholes. I was, a year or so ago, met a guy for breakfast at a famous Beverly Hills, California deli. Lots of celebrities go there. So he asked me to meet him there for this meeting. And I hear 3 people next to me. What are they doing? They're complaining about potholes in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, we have high-class problems if that's what we're complaining about. But what's our vision of the city? What are the big, they're called BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals that we ought to be chasing? That's what these things are about. What's our vision? Where are we going to go? And then how do we begin to bring those into the public dialogue? Things like, the silos when you come into town. Sometime before I die, we're going to get those things painted. We're going to figure this out. And, and
the foundry needs the roof of the foundry needs to be painted too.
Yeah, it does. But we can do these things, but we can do them collectively. There's a famous saying, never doubt that a group of thoughtfully committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And that's what we got to do, is become thoughtfully committed citizens.
Now, what's the first step? The first step is joining the chamber, right?
Absolutely, and we made it incredibly cheap.
Oh yeah,
$149. It was
a year.
A year. Yeah, it was.
I was paying that a quarter, I think, or $100 a quarter or something.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, our cheapest membership for kind of an ultra small company was $400. The average member was about $650. We've got some that are doing other things with the sponsorships and stuff that are more, but $650 was that normal number. Yeah. And when we looked at it, like a lot of small businesses, you know, we kind of got lost. We had been lost in the past. We were spending all our time selling and collecting, and none of it on servicing. So we pulled back and said, all right, how cheap can we make it? Right. How low cost can we bring that cost down, and then use our time to service the members, use our time to create opportunities for members to engage. And we brought it to $149, and we say, hey, listen, we'd really like for you to set it on automatic renewal, just like you do HBO or any of these other things you buy. But we're not going to spend any time selling you. Yeah. You're going to get it from us in email and mail, and we'd love for you to be part of it. Right. But I can't spend, I was literally, a team was spending 85% of their time selling or collecting. Yeah, and you don't service your customer. Well, that's a fool's errand. That's not what we were created for. So $149, and we try to lump everybody into twice a year, so we're not doing collection, processing it every month. But it's been wildly successful. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and plus it lowers the barrier to entry, and you want and the thing you can then participate in a lot of these things going on. You've got the wake up, we got the after hours, you got and other opportunities all the time.
There's last year, what did we do? We did 152 events last year at the chamber. This year we're going to hit close to that. We may actually get over, but if you're going to be part of these things, first thing you got to do is you got to be part of the organization.
Well, you got to participate too. Yeah. Don't just spend your now
$150.
Participate because you're going to get a lot better value. I mean, I think it was worth it before, but now, I mean, it's a no-brainer. So.
Absolutely. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap up here?
I just think every now and then we need to look around and say thanks. We've got an incredible group of community leaders right now, whether it's Donnie Lee at the school district. The superintendent is just killing it. He is doing hard things, and he is smart, and he talks and communicates well. We've got, a city council that, got a year and a half experience, and they are working their tails off to do that. A county judge that is at everything and working it. We are blessed with an incredible group of community leaders. And, and I get when you get a chance to pigeonhole the mayor, you want to go, hey, I need the grass cut in my neighborhood. But first start out with, hey, thanks.
Hey, thanks for what you do. And these people are doing it for nothing.
They're doing it for nothing.
Basically.
They're getting there, but they are representing us so well right now that a little gratitude, as Ray Wiley Hubbard would say, the days I keep my expectations lower than my gratitude are the days I have really good days. Mm-hmm. And some days that's what we need to remember for all of us. Let's get our gratitude up. Our expectations. Yeah. Maybe we don't have to lower them. We just have to raise our gratitude.
Raise your gratitude.
Well, but also, I mean, it's a mindset, really. I mean, if you really think about it, if you're able to go into the day and be thankful for where you're at individually, plus what other people are doing, if you're thankful and don't focus on, I mean, you need to take care of yourself, no doubt, but don't focus on you only, because you're not doing this alone. And I hate to. This isn't a village necessarily, but it kind of is. I mean, we work together. We all have our roles, and that's why business works, is because I'm good at IT, you're not. You may be good at IT.
No, I'm not.
But if you are, even if you are
can point
good,
figure, I'm not.
Right, but even if you are good at that, what is it that's best for your business? And so I'm probably going to be able to do it better for your business than you can, because you've got other things to do. And so I'm thankful for business, for the fact that our economy works the way it does.
I'm going to tell you though, I need work done on my phone, but I'm not bringing it in because I can't be without it.
We can work out something.
The last time I installed a water heater, I told my wife, I said, I'll never install another water heater.
I don't want to do plumbing.
I could have made more money focusing on my business today than I saved by not paying somebody to do a water heater. It was 3 trips to the hardware store. It was frustration because anytime you replace a water heater, now, by the way, I got tankless now. When I built the house, I put tankless in. That's the way to go. But anytime you replace a water heater, even though you might get the same size water heater, 35-gallon, 55-gallon, it doesn't fit the same way. No. Because they're reconfigured. They fit different. The inlets are different and all that. So, yes, I agree. You get an expert to do – you focus on your business and how you make money, and you pay an expert to do theirs.
And be thankful for the fact that they do exist, that we live in a town that has all these skills and all that, because that's the way business works. And then, you know what?
If you can't find them, call the chamber.
We'll hook you up with them. And we're all here. And we're all humans, and we get to have some friends along the way, and all of that. So I'm thankful for what you guys do. Although I bought my mower from him, and he's a friend, and all of that, and so I'm thankful for everybody.
Well, there'd be one of those things. I don't have a mower because it's one of those things I can't do as well.
We got a robo mower now. We can get you hooked up on that. Well, yeah, Ron Kitchens, we really appreciate you being in. Thank you very much.
I'm out of here. Thank you all.
Right.
Next week's guest, as we're wrapping up, our next week's guest is Jim Johnson. As you mentioned, the county judge, Jim Johnson. And Donnie Lee is on, going to be the first week of September, I believe, with us. So, so the people you mentioned by name, we're going to have as guests here. So,
all
thank
right.
you.
So, well, I guess we better wrap it up.
Yep.
And so, let's see. What is our wrap-up thing here? But anyway, let's see. We had it. You had it already. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So I guess we'll wrap it up. So like our friend and radio partner, old Mike here, he's always says that we will see you down the road.
You make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.